On the show today, we have actor, writer, producer Alex Zahara.
My name is Alex Zahara, and I'm an actor, producer, director, teacher, mentor. Been acting professionally since about 1996. Did 5 years of university at UBC. I'm from Alberta, and my mom said I was putting sock puppet plays on behind the couch for the other kids and friends in the neighborhood when I was 3 years old. I knew I wanted to be an actor. I don't know if an actor, entertainer in the business. I always wanted to direct when I was a little kid, but I was acting to direct, and when I was in high school, I won a scholarship because I directed the stage version of MASH, and we won the Regional Drama Festival, and I won a scholarship to go to college based on my direction of that. To be quite truthful, I went to university after that, quit for a while, went working. I was a lifeguard for years, and went back to UBC, and I got accepted into, I auditioned for the acting program, submitted for the film program, and was offered a position in the technical theater program based on the work that I did in my general first year when I came back. And honestly, I didn't really know I wanted to be an actor for sure, because I still wanted to be a director, until one day in class with John Brockington, we were doing a Hedda Gabler play, and we did the scene, me and a scene partner, we did a scene, and he goes, John, a big man and very sarcastic and acerbic, I should say, not sarcastic, and he was always picking his teeth eating lunch, and the original Dr. Evil. Well, Mr. Zahara, that was shit. Yeah, you want to try that again? I did the scene, and the walls went up. Like, I could see the walls. Like, look at the goosebumps coming up. Like, you see that, but the walls came up, and I could smell the gunpowder in the scene. It's Hedda Gabler, I'm Judge Brack, and she's shooting guns, and I'm coming and basically saying, like, I've got you, and you're gonna be my little, like, toy. The scene was done, and JB goes, well, Mr. Zahara, how was that? And I said, up on a stage, I'm looking down at it, I couldn't tell you, JB. He goes, what do you mean you couldn't tell me? I couldn't tell you because I wasn't there. Perfect, you remember that. We're moving on. And that was the moment the acting dropped in, because I completely disappeared. My character took over and drove the scene, and I was somewhere in the background asleep. And I mean, I'm not kidding. That was the moment, and I thought, oh, there's something to this. This is it. Yeah, I was talking to Sean here earlier about starting to direct more and do more things now, but it's taken me 25 years to do that because I've, enjoyed the acting so much. First role I ever did, a real role, I booked a Viking on The 13th Warrior with Antonio Banderas and Omar Sharif. And that was pretty exciting because I was doing a play, Julius Caesar at the time. I had to leave, and we were all young women and men, like, getting to go, and I was really upset because I had to leave, and I was in tears, and I talked to the producer director, and they said, don't worry, we'll step in, the director will take over the role. I was playing Cassius, the bad guy, and I told the cast, and I'm in tears talking to them because I have to leave, and they're like, get out of here, we'd all wanted to be in the same shoes, get out of here. And anyway, so that was my first film role, and I said I was going to be like, watch Third Viking to the left, and I'm actually credited as Norseman number 3. Wow, that was like, whoa, it was like $10,000 because it was like a week's worth of work, and I was like, oh my God, like, I'm rich, and then it was like student loan, oh damn, yeah. But no, it was pretty cool because it kind of, I was like, hey, I think I can do this. I think I could maybe make a living at this. Like, I think I could possibly do this. And I always said, if I could become a journeyman actor, like a working actor still learning on the way, like always being open to learning, I'd be a happy guy. And I've been doing that for, the past 20-something years. Absolutely. I was really lucky. I had really great teachers and school teachers, and not to get too in detail, but Mrs. Parker, grade 1, Ms. Parker, she's a great teacher, inspired me to be expressive, create, and do my own thing. I would write her letters till I was like in grade 4 or 5 or 6, so she moved away. But Mr. Atkinson, John Atkinson, was a British school teacher, and he read us the classics. And he read The Hobbit aloud to us every day. And it was just crazy, like, having him read this, and he was going, Master Zahara, come here, justify your existence, like, okay. But he did plays, and I got first the play bug with him, doing Much Ado About Nothing, Shakespeare, and HMS Pinafore, and like different things. And a few years ago, I was back in Grand Prairie, my hometown, and he came and brought me the adjudicator's adjudication of Much Ado About Nothing, when I played Dogberry, the Sergeant of the Guard, and just a bumbling fool. And it said, young man who played Dogberry, wonderful presence and charisma and beautiful voice. And I was like, oh, that was pretty cool. But yeah, him. And then one more quick one, Sukumar Nair. Sukumar Nair was a drama teacher in first year college, and he really struck home with me. And he said, if you choose to miss my class, but you may have an experience in this class that could change your life, alter you forever, and send you down the path you're supposed to go on. But if you miss that, that opportunity may never come again. And it just hit me like, whoa, to be open to, okay, I'm never missing class. And I never did. I think in 3 years of university of the program at UBC, I think I maybe missed 1 to 3 days. And one of those days I had a fever of like 100 and something in the hospital. But, and of all the people that was in my class, I think 1,000 people auditioned, 1,000 applied or more, 300 auditioned, 14 got accepted. Basically, like 6 of us finished, but 2 were sort of just almost kicked out at the end. 4 of us really finished the program. Luckily, I'm the only one still doing it full time. You got to keep training. You got to keep active. And by training, I mean still like you take classes or you're coaching. I find like I teach at a school, and I find that it just sharpens me incredibly. So when I go to do my own rehearsal and auditions, I stay sharp. Yeah, whether it's classes or teaching or whatever, you got to do it. Because let's be quite frank. I mean, most of our time was not spent on set acting, so our tools are sitting there waiting to get used, and they're going to get rusty otherwise. Doubt and all that. You know what? And this might sound a bit like blasé, like I don't care, but I just don't care what people think. Yes, in the sense of when I did a live play a few years ago. We did Baskerville, and it's a comedy takeoff of The Hound of the Baskervilles, and we did the Stanley Theatre here, and then toured it for another couple of months. There was one line I was so into character, and that's, yeah, Sherlock Holmes. I played Sherlock Holmes, so I was very into character, and listening to all the people in the whole discussion, and planning, and I was so into the thoughts of whatever, I missed my line. I always missed, not always, but about probably 40% of the time I missed this one line. And it was like, a millionaire, or $1 million, or whatever. I can't remember it even now, but yeah, that would stress me out. But for the most part, like you, I'm pretty well prepared. You've got some good training under your belt and good people, so you train, you do well, you have your lines ready, and if you get thrown something different, you got to be able to play with it. And for the most part, I'm pretty playful, so it works out. Saul Rubinek, years ago, we did the 100th episode of The Outer Limits, and I played the real-life Nazi commandant that ran Auschwitz, and he was a Jewish, investigator hunting down Nazis that had escaped, and he said, just get out there and work, and do your own thing. Don't let other people tell you what to do. That was great. And then I don't know, it's sort of weird, but I don't know if it's advice or just watching how they live and work. Like just be a person. Antonio Banderas, we were sitting down in between scenes one time on The 13th Warrior, just talking about life and going to school and how I'd given up to play Julius Caesar. He goes, hey, I played Marcus Antonio in school. And I was like, oh, cool, right. And be real. I said, there's sometimes this pretense in Hollywood and film world about, this is the person I'm, all the above the line stuff, or like, I have to be treated like this because I'm this. I'll tell you, I've worked with Kevin Costner, Robert Duvall, Annette Bening, Sir Michael Gambon. Yeah, those people don't act that way. It's funny, I laugh at that because I looked last night on my IMDb, just because we were talking about this morning. I was looking at myself, how many shows have I done? I think I've played, I counted, 8 Germans, and at least half of them are Nazis. People ask me once how I look at acting, and acting is like driving a car. I drive the car to rehearsal, and I sit there. Alex Zahara, and he does his thing. The trained actor sits there, and he's going over the script, and then in the back seat is this sea of primordial ooze where the character's going to form out of and become real. And eventually I'm giving the Coles Notes version, but you all switch seats. The character's formed now, and he drives the scene, right? The trained actor stays on book and grabs the wheel every once in a while, says hit the brakes or take that turn there on the road to get where he wants, and I'm asleep in the back seat. And like he leans over and drives one-handed and puts his hand on my heart and filters my heart and my soul and my emotions. But the question is, do I ever find a hard time getting it out of character? Do those dark characters ever affect me? One time in university, I played this, and this is before I came up with this sort of driving analogy. I was playing a guy, I played all the male characters in a play called Marisol, and that's the way it's written. There's one male actor plays all the male characters, and they were doing some really violent things to women, etc. It's the apocalypse, it's the end of the world. Jez Butterworth wrote it, and he won like the Critics Circle Award for it, or the Olivier Award for the Best New Playwright, etc. And I'm just committing violence left, right, and center with women. It's bad news. And in class one time, the teacher could see I was something. Gail Murphy, I was working with her, our voice teacher, and she could see I was holding back something, and she started like, "Come here, Alex," and she got behind me, started like, "Okay, breathe it out," and doing this stuff, and telling it. And all of a sudden, just all this like tears came thundering out of me, because yes, I'm not really committing violence, but you have to have that in you, and you have to access that dark bit. And I didn't know how to let go of it, and she let me let go of it, and I'd been carrying it around. So then after that, I realized, okay, I've got to do something afterwards to get rid of this stuff. So I would stretch and do different things and breathe and do a lot of deep breathing, and I started picturing the character going to sleep. I would put the character to bed, and I think that blossomed into the driving thing and the character going back into the primordial ooze, because at the end of the day, everybody switches seats again, and the character goes back to the back seat, and he goes bloop, and becomes primordial ooze again. And that way, I don't carry around his stuff, because he takes whatever darkness that he creates with my soul, and when he gives my soul back, he keeps it. And he goes to the back seat and goes bloop. And then the next day or the next hour, he comes back up and we shoot or we film. Absolutely. Yeah, when I get up in the morning, I'll stretch and I do a vocal warm-up in the car while I'm driving. I put my lines, I record my lines on my phone with my girlfriend usually, reading the other parts, or if she's not available, I read the parts. But I do that. But in the morning, get up, stretch, do a vocal warm-up. You know, it's not like as intense as an hour or whatever, but probably 20 minutes, you know, or so, half hour, and then get in the character and find my path. Back in the day, I wrote a bunch of letters and, you know, and headshot res or whatever, but I personalized it. I found out who the agent was, like a bit of their career, who they were, what kind of person they were, like talking through other actors, other people, and I personalized the letters and said, I've talked to so-and-so who knows you and this and that and blah, 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 and I sent stuff off, and there was about 8 agencies I was interested in, but I FedExed everything to them because, you know, most people get a thing or submission to the front door and they're like, yeah, file 13, here we go. But if you send it FedEx, it means you're serious, you care about it enough, so at least back in the day. So I did that, and I got responses from every single one of them. And a friend of mine worked at one of the agencies, and I'd already agreed to work with some other people by the time they got back, and it was only a couple, 2-3 days, but still. And she said, they were like, oh, damn, Alex is gone already, damn it, you know, we should have been faster on the draw. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, because I was still early on. But I think today, the best way to get an agent, again, find out something about the agent, personally, how long they've been doing it, what their background is, mention that in a letter to them, and talk about yourself. It's a business relationship. You're hiring them as much as they're hiring you. You're agreeing to work together. That's basically what it is. The hiring is, I guess you're agreeing to start up a business relationship. And that's the thing to never lose focus of. It's a business. If you get that little voice going, oh, this guy's cool, or this woman's great, do it. You know, sign on with them, you know? And then, but don't get locked down. They can talk the talk, but they got to walk the walk. So if they're not getting you out there, if you're not seeing people, well, move on. Let them know this relationship isn't working, you know. And you don't sign agreements for like exclusive contract or some silly thing like that or whatever. It used to be back in the day, you had to like you couldn't go to another agent for 6 months and this and that. Well, you got to look at the seasons. If you want to do theater, you have to look at the seasons and look at the theater companies in town. Like the Arts Club is the big one in town here, Bard on the Beach, and one of their general auditions, and or say like you find their season and say I want to audition for this play if it really interests you, and you approach them and go to the artistic director and you say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I do, I'm really interested in doing this. Vancouver, what's your story?